Welcome back to Solomon's Porch with your host Jason.
And Sean.
And this is the first time in many, many moons that you've not had a delay in the start time. That's
Really?
awesome, man. Yeah. That's great.
No.
Yeah, that's great to know. I'm sure our podcast listeners are like, what? Really?
That's...
So, yeah, man.
Okay.
So this week on the show, we're going to be talking about Moon Knight, the latest Disney Plus series. We're also going to be talking about the upcoming movies and shows as well. Later on in our round 5, we're going to talk about our top anti-heroes or anti-heroes, however you say that. And I don't know if we've done this before, but
I don't think so. And even if we have, I'm pretty sure they've changed.
my list is way different than it was before. A little less unorthodox, and yours is definitely unorthodox. So,
What do you mean, definitely?
it's definitely unorthodox. So, and then we're going to be talking about the third cultural trend killing the church. So, stay tuned through the whole entire show. If you're watching on YouTube for the other segments, you'll have to check the other videos, but if you're on the podcast, you get to hear it all in one fell swoop. So, yeah, man, before we start the show, we do want to thank our sponsors. Official sponsor for the show, TrueStrengthApparel.com. Aaron's actually got some really cool new gear over there. It's the Created line. And so it's got like a little NASA-looking similar logo with Created in it. I actually ordered a tie-dye shirt, which I don't usually do tie-dye.
Tie-dye?
Yeah, very different, but
Yeah.
he's got some cool looking stuff over there, so go check that out, TrueStrengthApparel.com. Also, Chris Nunn has got a new single called Hear Me Now, so he is an up-and-coming artist. We're going to try to get him on the show soon. His song is actually going to be the first song in the podcast, so if you listen to via podcast, you'll get to hear the new single from Chris Nunn titled Hear Me Now. So, let's talk about it, man. You want to do the review first or last?
I'm good either way, bro.
Well, let's jump into it, man. So, Moon Knight, spoilers for anybody who doesn't know, but I don't think there's really any spoilers necessarily at this point. Not a whole lot of information in there.
Yeah,
a little bit.
Yeah, but if you hadn't watched it at all, then
you probably don't care that much. I don't think Moon Knight's going to get as big of a. I think the new characters that are getting brought in, like Moon Knight, like everybody else has had some sort of previous story in the realm somewhere, you know, Wanda, Vision, Loki,
Right.
Hawkeye, Falcon Winter Soldier. Moon Knight's a brand new character that's getting its first bit of exposure. So I think a lot of people who are not really into comics or into Marvel or don't really care about the whole universe of Marvel, they might not care as much about Moon Knight. I will say, though, Oscar Isaac, in my opinion, is doing a great job, especially whenever he transitions from his regular person Steven to Mark Spector. I think that is...
or is that the regular character, or is Mark Spector the regular character, but
Yes.
Steven is actually the alternate?
So he made it seem like Steven was the actual person because Mark was like, look, as soon as we're done with this task, I'll be gone. Like, I'll be done.
Mm-hmm.
And so they haven't fully explained that whole dynamic at this point yet. I think it was a little weird starting off. It was a little slow, I would say. My wife was watching it. I don't think she's going to watch the show.
See, I totally don't understand that. I don't know how you get slow out of it, because it was pretty action packed.
The first episode?
Yeah, it was fairly well running right off the bat.
I mean, it started off with the whole shoe thing and the glass in the shoe. But aside from that, it was really slow until they got into the museum. Which is at the end of it.
Yeah, but still, it's not like it's that long of a show.
Yeah, but it just still seemed kind of slow.
Yeah, I don't know, and the whole thing of him like swapping between Mark and Steven, and them being found in Germany, and I mean, there's lots of stuff there.
For me, it was kind of slow.
Okay, well,
That's
all right.
my opinion of it.
That's
So
all
I'm
right.
guessing your opinion is it didn't start off slow.
See, because I went in thinking, and I even told my daughter, I was like, okay, so I've heard that this first episode's a little bit on the slow side. We got through it, and we're like, I didn't get slow from this. That didn't make any sense. I mean, it wasn't like, super blow me away. I'm at the edge of my seat the entire time from, second one to the very ending of it. But it moved along well, and I don't know. I
mean, the
was
story
really
moved.
pretty
Like,
impressed.
the story was developing. You're developing the character, which I
But even the
understand
action
that.
moved.
But like in some of the other shows, it was like, boom, boom, boom.
Oh no,
There
I
was
think
still
in some
stuff
of the other
going
shows you
on.
had a lot slower intros.
Yeah, I mean, like Wanda was a lot slower. Wanda
Stupid
was
slow.
very slow. That was a super slow show.
Yeah, that was like epic. It didn't actually get active until like the end.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but anyway,
It was also the longest series too. Everything else has been shorter.
yeah.
So anyway,
Anyway.
overall though, I think I'm enjoying the show. The second episode, was a little bit more action packed. You got a little more kind of. To me, that's what I was expecting the first episode to be.
Okay.
Kind of that situation. But I'm looking forward to seeing the rest of it. At this point, I'm definitely a Wednesday watcher.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Loki, I was like a Thursday, Friday watcher.
Yeah.
In some episodes, it was just like, oh, okay, man, this is dragging on a little bit too long. In certain parts of the show.
Sure.
But, the whole entire Mark Spector in the cloak is I think that's some very great design work that they're doing in that show.
Yeah, well, I mean, so just to put a little exclamation on that. I mean, the character has through the comic books over years has developed and has certainly progressed into a much cooler looking character.
Yeah.
Even into more recent comics, and I feel like that for the live action, they definitely pulled out all the stops and they made them just as epically awesome as they could have. Just enough little comedic level within the show that I think it gives it a little bit of levity to it. So it doesn't get too heavy-handed in the gods and Egyptian theology kind of thing. So it doesn't feel too magic-like, but at the same time, still keeping enough of all of that. I to be honest with you, I was really afraid because like the early Moon Knight comics, which is what I was exposed to, is so much reading, and there's just so heavy on the whole gods and the theology of it all that it turned me off. I could never pick it back up. I always thought he looked like a really cool character and somebody that really could be far more interesting than what the comics, at least initially, portrayed. I hadn't read any of the more recent comics. But I feel like that they definitely have a great balance within the show. So, and of course, yeah, Oscar Isaacs does a fantastic job of bringing all that to life. So, if you're a huge comic book fan, there are definitely some things that they diverged from the comic book storyline. So his alter ego is normally a fairly well-to-do person that's, kind of playboy kind of thing, whereas Steven is not anything remotely close to that. But again, that's what helps to bring in some of that levity, I think. So, I'm hoping that it's not going to turn people off so much so that Marvel / Disney is not going to be able to pick up additional shows because of the poor performance of this. So it's kind of like, in Star Wars, we got Rogue One and then we got Solo. And, then it was kind of slow in even thinking about doing another movie because those felt like epic failures. And so I'm hoping that they don't feel that way with Moon Knight, because even though Moon Knight's getting good reception, it's not getting quite the blockbuster response that definitely the other shows have, which is, again, understandable given the character. But they've also obviously got some... They got some skin in this game. I mean, they have two super high-end actors in it, Ethan Hawke and Oscar Isaacs. I'm sure don't come cheap.
Yeah.
So, they've got money in it, and then locations. So
I got kind of a prediction.
Okay.
Of what I think of at least one character we're going to see coming to the show at the very end. I think Gore the God Butcher is going to show up.
Okay.
Because you got all these Egyptian gods,
and
it's going to be some sort of introduction to that character going into Thor: Love and Thunder.
Okay.
So that's my guesstimation. I haven't heard anybody say that yet, but I know that Gore the God Butcher hates all forms of gods and is trying to kill them all.
Right.
So the first
Yes.
exposure we have really to it is in Moon Knight,
Yeah.
at least in explicit.
Right.
So I feel like, at this point, it'd be interesting to see him show up. I don't know. I'm not how sure about that because I know initially they were talking about, making a big whoop-de-doo of Christian Bale landing on the set to start shooting for Thor: Love and Thunder. It was like a big, huge thing, and this show came out before Thor: Love and Thunder. So if they did any shooting for this, it was during that time,
Right.
while he was doing Love and Thunder, or it was beforehand on the DL,
Right.
which Marvel's really good at DL
Oh,
stuff.
yeah, definitely.
Charlie Cox. So
Yeah.
man, we're not going to see him in the show, but and I think another thing too that's interesting to me is that they're on the British side of things. Mm-hmm. You got that on a British accent. I'm assuming it's a British accent. I'm bad with.
Yeah, but it's a horrible British accent. But yeah.
Yeah, so you have all these people. So that was kind of one of the first things I noticed was, this is really kind of the first.
Well, I mean, okay. So it's primarily set in the UK.
Yeah. So anyway, any other thoughts on that before we move on?
I'm thinking that we may get Ghost Rider.
Ghost Rider.
Yeah, or at least his human counterpart. So to kind of make some sort of appearance, some sort of tie-in in there, because it's still within that group of people that work together that are indwelt, if you will.
And we got Blade already.
So
that supernatural character is showing up.
Yeah. So
yeah, man, I'm excited
and Black Knight as well.
Yeah, for all the possibilities.
Yeah.
So, not in any specific particular order, we have Multiverse of Madness. They released another trailer for that. Still getting interesting to me. Tickets are on sale now, but the movie comes out in less than a month. So May 6th, we'll be seeing that. Obi-Wan starts in less than 50 days.
I'm stoked.
I think it's 49 or 48 days.
Yeah.
So at the end of Moon Knight, it'll roll right into Obi-Wan, which to me, in my opinion, that's a really good way to do it because you get maybe some audience for Moon Knight, but you're definitely going to get the audience for Obi-Wan.
Oh, definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thor: Love and Thunder right around the corner after that, July 8th. And then we have Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse Part 1. That's on October on the 7th. And so I'm kind of curious to see that. I know the very first Into the Spider-Verse film that we're going to try to get like Tobey Maguire to at least voice the part of one of the Spider characters.
Right.
But they didn't do that. They felt like that was a little bit too early. And I honestly think Marvel was probably like, hey, we got plans for Tobey, so let's hold off on that.
Right.
But I mean, at this point, there's really no telling what they're going to do with this film.
Oh, yeah. They go anywhere.
I mean, so, I'm kind of...
As if the first Spider-Verse didn't kind of just about go anywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, it covered a lot of bases in the first film, so...
Absolutely. So, we also have Wakanda Forever, November 11th. I am very curious to see how they do that. Like, part of me really wants them to bring Michael B. Jordan back as a multiverse Black Panther. Because he's a great actor.
Oh, yeah.
For him not to continue on in the Black Panther sphere of movies, I feel like
it's a missed opportunity.
It really, I mean, he's expensive.
Yeah, but
He's
still.
high dollar.
Still.
So, you're not pulling a newbie off the street. But if they don't do that, they at least got to make sure he's the new Black Panther, in my opinion.
But see, if there's somebody that's going to be able to bring in the audiences to be able to afford, he's it. As far as I'm concerned, I think it makes the most sense. Now, should we still get some other characters to be able to level up a few more levels within that universe? Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, no, I agree. I think Michael B. Jordan is the perfect, an alternate universe version of him to come in, and it would be epic.
Yeah, absolutely. So, also, Black Adam, October 21st. So, The Rock makes his debut appearance in the DC Universe. And then shortly after that is Shazam, Fury of the Gods on December 16th. So, it's a lot of stuff coming up. There's some more Disney Plus stuff coming up. I know they just finished shooting for Mando Season 3. a week or so ago.
About time.
So I don't know how quick they're going to turn that around, if that's going to be toward the end of the year or not.
It's supposed to be.
So I'm hoping they bring that in before the end of the year, because I'm excited to see what they do.
Yeah, all the tie-in.
With
Yeah.
Mandalorian.
Well, you said that there's a second Shazam movie. There was a first one?
Yeah, there was.
Oh, wow.
It's the real Captain Marvel.
Captain
Marvel.
It must have done really well, though.
However, there's a John Wick 4
Well, yeah.
coming out.
Yeah.
Creed 3. A couple other good
I
movies.
didn't know that, but I knew John Wick 4 because it's...
You're a John Wick fanatic. Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't say fanatic, but fan. Sorry.
So, Family Camp. This is way out of the comic book realm. Way out. So, if you're familiar with I don't know, I wouldn't say Christian comedy, but there's a couple of guys called the Skit Guys. They've done a lot of videos. They got a lot of stuff on YouTube, a lot of funny stuff, and then some other serious stuff. But it's more playful comedy, more for the whole family, which is why it's called Family Camp. So, I'm kind of interested to see it. It's their first film that they're doing.
Right.
So to me, that's interesting to see that come across. And I was kind of really surprised because right now they're just doing like Facebook Live stuff, and I haven't.
Yeah, there hasn't been much in the way of new videos.
Yeah.
I recently pulled one out for a presentation that we did in our small group for Easter, and it was considerably old, and most of everything else that I was looking at, I was like, oh yeah, I remember that. Oh wow, 9 years ago. What? Wow,
Yeah, a lot of old
been
stuff.
A minute.
A lot of old stuff. So speaking of the home group that we got in the video. So we're actually going to be creating a page on our website, SolomonSportsPodcast.com or SolomonSportsProductions.com, for home church content. So whether it be written material, links to videos that we use. I think Sean's working on getting some lyric videos put together that they can use for musical worship.
Yep.
And if they want to practice tithing, we'll have a donate button. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. We don't have that on the side. However, if you do want to support the show, you can do so on Patreon or whatever.
Absolutely.
So we do have that option, just in case you're wondering. But yeah, we really want to be able to feed into those because we are big advocates of home churches, or at least at a bare minimum, small groups.
Yes.
And this can benefit anybody who does that. Mm-hmm. But I know that the home church movement is growing. A lot more people are doing it. And so we've done videos on the home church movement. We've done, I think it was a 3-part series we did. So you can check that out, but SolomonSportsProductions.com for that. And that's coming soon. We don't really have anything up there now, but that will be coming soon.
Yeah, we are working on it, so do expect to see it coming.
Absolutely. So, in the way of music news, we had a lot of songs that were sent in to us. So we have Darren Miller. Darren Miller would Take Flight featuring ASAP Preach. We also have Paul Anthony Land with Unpaid Crimes. Martha Eliza, I'm Not Perfect. Bobby Bars with Couple Bands. River Movement, You Know More featuring Soul Option. Now, Chris Thompson, Ride Out. Chris Thompson, great song. I say this specifically because whenever I was doing some music submissions for Trackstarz, I picked this song to go into the Line for Line Showdown, and it did phenomenal. Wow. So make sure you check that out. And we also have Chris Nunn, our sponsor for this episode, with Hear Me Now. Please, just let y'all know, if you support the sponsors for this podcast, that's how you also support the podcast.
Absolutely.
So go check out those artists. Let them know you heard about them from us, or run the Spotify numbers up. There's different ways you can support them in turn, which also supports us. So yeah, man, that's it for the news section. We'll be back in just a few minutes with our top anti-heroes. Make sure you stay tuned.